Well, America's universities are teeming with countless petty tyrants. Recently at the University of Oregon, a professor was suspended for wearing blackface to a Halloween party, even though she says she was trying to send an anti-racist message by doing it. Law professor Eugene Volokh says that the Oregon's decision is a harbinger of the destruction of free speech rights on American campuses. Professor Volokh joins us now. Professor, thanks for coming on. So,
thanks for having me.
If you'll just reassure me that I'm not missing something in the story. This professor wore blackface to a party. She was trying to represent a book that she thought that would evoke. And she says she wasn't doing this as part of some sort of minstrel show or to offend anyone, but to take a stand against racism. And moreover, no one at the party complained. Are those the facts as you know them?
First, it was a party at her own house. There were some students that she'd invited. She'd invited her classes, as many professors do. It's a party at her own house. There was apparently some indication that some students there felt somewhat uneasy. But the concern was that the students were upset, and then other students who heard about it later on at the law school got upset. And lots of them heard about it because the law school made a big deal of having also these discussions about it. And that itself, the university said, that itself helped create the hostile environment that made her speech punishable.
Okay, so that's what and they said it in pretty clear terms, that the actual disruption and harm to the university resulting from what she did are significant enough to outweigh her interest in academic freedom and freedom of speech. So they're in effect saying that by dressing this way, she caused harm to people at the school?
Well, not only are they saying that, the implication is the same with regard to any kind of speech, even outside of school, that might be seen as racially offensive, whether intentionally or not, as religiously offensive. Imagine somebody goes to somebody's house and there's a poster of the Muhammad cartoons. I actually blogged the Muhammad cartoons at one point on my blog. Say somebody reads my blog and they say, oh no, I'm now offended for religious reasons because I'm Muslim, the hypothetical person would say. Then a whole bunch of other students make a big thing of this. The school starts having more discussions, and then the university comes in and says, oh, it's now so disruptive, in large part because the school has actually made a big thing of this, that now Volokh is going to be punished for it, and any other professor as well.
They get away with this, it seems to me, not by saying we're against free speech. Nobody wants to say that out loud, though of course they are, but by equating words they disagree with violence. I feel unsafe when you say that, Ed.
Well, that's a big part of it. A lot of students say that. The university is more saying that it's discrimination. And it's true that if a professor decides to grade down a student because of their race or religion, that's obviously a violation of the law, a violation often of the Constitution. But what they're doing is they're saying that speech that offends certain groups is tantamount to illegal discrimination. So they're indeed recharacterizing speech as conduct that is now stripped of protection.
No, I mean, no one's defending offensive speech. I'm not. But once freedom of speech goes, it's over. That's it, I think. Mr. Volokh, thanks a lot for joining us.
That's absolutely right. And again...
It is right. It is right. Please finish your sentence.
Yeah, and again, this is not just about allegedly racially offensive speech. The same thing could apply, by the way, to speech that is critical of homosexuality or critical of certain claims about gender identity and transgender status. So long as some identifiable group can be really offended by this and then and this offense turns into more disruption at school, that's reason enough to suspend or perhaps even fire a tenured faculty member.
That's right. Or ultimately, even political speech will qualify as disruptive.
Well, this was a form of political speech.
That's right, exactly. Professor, thanks a lot for joining us. That was interesting and ominous.
Thanks for having me.